information just coming at us, and sometimes the appropriate amount of online content, what we post, what we look at, what we believe is difficult sometimes. I have a PowerPoint presentation I'm going to share, and have just a brief PowerPoint that I will share with you guys, and then we will have a conversation, hopefully, because I would like us to engage instead of just me talking. All right. And so I have a couple of questions, and you could just answer as the questions come up. The first one is, how much time do you spend online? So how much time do you spend online? Anyone? Just quickly, what do you think in a day, per day? How much time do you think you probably spend online?
8 hours.
2 hours. 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours.
8 hours.
Okay. The person who said 2 to 3 hours, let me give you a round of applause, because the average person,
except for during the week, except for at work, but that's it. But no, after work I don't fool around.
Wow. Okay. Great. There's a lot of individuals who have done some research and see how much internet or social media or device period is too much, and depending on what they're looking at, the actual amount of time varies. Okay, but we can safely say that children should not have as much exposure to online and devices, we call it screen time, as adults. And most studies, most things that I've read, say that a healthy amount of time for children is probably 2 to 3 hours, no more, including television, smartphones and tablets and all of these things children are now on. They pretty much say 2 to 3 hours, and the less the better to a certain degree. However, for adults, it could be a little more. However, most people are saying 6, 5, 8, maybe, depending on what metrics, what they're looking at. But it's so hard sometimes because a lot of us work on computers, and then we do a lot of texting, social media things on our smartphones, tablets, and devices. And so individuals kind of find themselves sometimes a whole lot time spent on the internet. And so the next question is, what do you do online? Another thing that's important in terms of your mental health, if depending on what you do, can make a huge difference. So you just share with me 1 or 2 things quickly, anyone, what you do on the internet primarily, or on devices. You don't necessarily have to be on the internet, whether it's social media, mostly work, or shopping.
Work. If I go on social media, I may post something, but if and on some social media, if I go on, I'm going only to be nosy.
Okay.
I'm in people's business that they wish to post. So I'm in folks' business. You know?
Thank you for your honesty. Okay. Anyone else?
Research for class, usually.
Usually research for class. Okay. And so I thank individuals for their honesty, because one of the things I want to mention is that sometimes we live online to a certain degree, and we'll talk about that a little later. But then some people post things, and not everything people post is truthful. And so some people get anxiety. They see how good people are doing, quote unquote, because they post it online. I could take a picture in front of a beautiful house. That doesn't mean it's my house. And so there are certain things that happen online that we think is truthful, but it's not. And so again, just remember that anybody can post something. It doesn't make it true. And so that's one of the things. Okay. How often do you go on your social media platform or check your email? How many times per day would you say that you feel that you need to do that?
I check my email all the time.
Give me when you say all the time, do you have notification on your phone? So every time one comes in, you hear it?
Yes, every time it comes. It only times it don't come through is at 5 a.m. in the morning. But I usually go to bed about 2. Wow. So Netflix. Yeah, so I check my email. I mean, from the time I get up until the time I go to bed. I do, because it's on my phone, and I just do that.
Okay, okay, okay. And so it is something that research have shown that if you constantly feel, especially if you feel like you have to always respond to email, text messages, social media. I mean, some people live on their phones. It's almost every time you see them, they have their phone in their hand. They're either texting, watching a YouTube clip, going on Facebook, WhatsApp. I mean, responding to email messages. And our work has kind of been blended somewhat into our lives because, before, when you go home, when we didn't have internet and email, there was no letters to write, no correspondence that you're going to receive while you're at home. If you brought some work home to do, you do that and that's it. There was no new work introduced typically for the average person. Today, and I'm guilty of it. I try my best not to send emails to my fellow colleagues after hours, but sometimes you just don't want to forget, so you do go ahead and send them, and your colleague may receive it and may respond. And so we are contributing to individuals' work just blended into their home life and that extra screen time. And so be mindful that even if an email comes in, not every email is critically important and needs to be responded to right away. I will not say don't respond to any emails, but I would say set some guidelines, set some parameters. The notification when you get a new email, some people suggest turn that off, because every time you hear it, you're going to want to see what email it is. Some people have it even on their watch, so it is very difficult for them to miss any email or any message coming in, and so you want to be mindful of that. One of the things with all of this screen time, it has been studied and proven that screen time may even affect your sleep, and so the blue light that it emits can lower your melatonin level in your body, and your melatonin hormone, that is what regulates your sleep and your wake when you're awake. And so if it is off balance, it could cause some difficulty for you in terms of sleeping. And so you probably heard you shouldn't watch too much TV right before bed. And a lot of us still do that. And so that's one of the reasons why they're saying we should not have the screen time. And then it also have your brain going. You just watch something, you don't have that calm. So right before bed, you should pretty much just have a time to yourself, a quiet time, and then head to bed. You probably will find that it's a little easier to go to sleep. Okay, and we know how important sleep is for your mental and physical health. And so the last question I have for you today is, what do you post on social media? Anyone?
What I want people to read.
I like that answer, but what exactly do you want people to read? If you could, what exactly, what would be a typical post?
Do a happy message, a feel good something, I introduce people to the natural of the land, fruits, vegetables, that I have growing around here on my property, and yeah, stuff like that, or some quick advice, some real tip. I'm kind of raw, so I give people a real tip raw, like you better leave that man alone, women, stuff like that, and then, I don't post lies, but I don't like to post, and I don't like to post anything that's going to draw sympathy. You know what I'm saying? Some people post where their page look like a funeral page, or woe is me. So I stay away from anything that's, mine is most of the time is happy stuff.
Okay, okay, thank you. Anyone else wanted to share? All right. Well, couple of things. One, anybody familiar with this picture?
Yes, I saw that. Made me sick. I didn't even want to go to Taco Bell anymore.
Okay, and that's exactly why Taco Bell fired the individual in the picture and the one who took the picture, from my understanding. The article I read stated that the employee said that he did it as a joke. He thought it would be funny, posted to his friends and so forth and so on. However, he did not actually serve any of these tacos to paying customers. And so whether that's truth or not, I can't say, but I know as soon as I saw the picture, I said, I'm not eating at Taco Bell. And even if it is true that he did not, it just was a stage picture and the shells wasn't sold, maybe another employee of Taco Bell saw it and thought it was a good idea, and maybe they did it. And so it's harmful to the company, and it was harmful to him because he lost his job. And so what you post on the internet, sometimes we try to post things that are funny, you think people are going to laugh, but you also have to look at the repercussions. If I post this, what might be the repercussions? Because I'm sure losing a job put some financial and maybe some mental stress on him, and hopefully it was a lesson that he learned and he won't do it again. Anybody familiar with this lady?
Isn't she the one that was the budget something that he nominated, and she put out a whole bunch of crap, and then she went back and erased everything? I don't know. I think that's her.
That is exactly her. She what she did was over the years, she tweeted a lot of things that was very critical, and some people say a little nasty, depending on your how you feel about what she posted, on both sides, the Democrats and the Republicans. And so she was nominated for the budget and management to lead that office. But because of her past tweets, she withdrew, her name from the pool because it was evident that she probably would not make confirmation. And so what you post online is very, very important that you think about it first. And they said that it was thousands of tweets that she tried to delete, hoping people forget. But once it's on the internet, mostly likely somebody sent it somewhere and others can still find it. So even though she deleted it from her Twitter, it was still out there and individuals still remembered. And so she lost a very, very big position based on just her tweets. And so that's something just to keep in mind. So a couple of quick things to remember, and following that is, do not post when you are emotional. I don't know about you, but when I'm emotional, I may say things that I normally won't say when I have a clear head. And so I always say, if you are emotional, especially if you're upset, take at least a day, sleep on it, and then decide if you really want to post it. And or share it, because not only Twitter, Facebook, those kinds of things, but people don't think of WhatsApp sometimes as a means of social media, but it is. And one of the things is that people share some things on WhatsApp that is sometimes extremely troubling. I don't know if any of you have experienced that, and if you've ever done it, I would ask and encourage you not to do it. But we've had, a lot of crime and violence and act of just things that are just baffling to my mind, why people do certain things to other human beings. But then sometimes they take a picture or a video of somebody assaulting somebody or people fighting, and we share these things. Now, those things, one, are negative, and we ought not to want to share them. But the ones that are extremely troubling for me, and when I see it, I tell the person, please don't share it with me and don't share it with anybody else, is the crime scenes where people have lost their lives and they're taking pictures of them and sharing it. And so those things are very, again, negative and not something that we ought to do. So think about what you post and what you share. Okay. Don't spend too much time online. As we talked about, it can impact your sleep and some other things about those online screen times. That is not good, because you see a lot online, and sometimes, again, just navigating and knowing what to believe and what not to believe becomes difficult. So just be mindful of that. And then here, I've heard a lot of people have a lot of anxiety because they use Google as so much, even to be their doctor. So if they have a pain in the neck or something, their throat feel a certain way, they Google it. And a lot of the time, the most extreme condition is what pops up probably first. So they have a little something in their throat, they might feel dry, a little lumpish. So they go on Google, they put in that. Next thing, they think they have throat cancer. And of course, that will make you lose sleep and different things like that. So it's something that you want to be mindful that when you're searching for things online, be careful what exactly you search for, and that you don't take it as a firm diagnosis or something that you might, say, hey, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. For instance, not only does Google, some people try to diagnose themselves, but they try to treat themselves. I know of an individual who Googled natural remedies and tried something, I think it was for dialysis, and it made it worse. And so instead of getting better, they got worse, and the condition deteriorated, and they had to go seek medical attention. And so that's one of the things that, it's not like fixing your car or doing some of the other things that we use Google and YouTube for. When it comes to your health, you want to seek definitely a professional. And then another thing is some people just live on the internet. They post everything, and somebody said they just go online sometimes to see what people business is. And there's a story, I believe it's a true story. I saw it online, and it was on a news feed. So, but sometimes you're not sure even on news feeds. But there was a family who went on a vacation, and the daughter and son were big with social media. When they were leaving the house, they posted it. When they were at the airport, they posted it at the airport. When they jump on the plane, they said they're on the plane heading to whatever destination they were. When they arrived, they posted they arrived, and they would be there for 2 weeks. And they kept posting day to day. When they returned home, the house was ransacked. They called the police. The police investigated, and they noticed that the individuals who robbed the home stayed there, they slept there, they bathed, they ate, they did all kinds of things. Therefore, they predicted maybe at least a week. They found out who it was because they followed the person's social media and figured out who was following them, and they somehow got the individuals, and they said that they followed their Facebook pages to figure out what time they were going to return. And so they put all their business out there. And so the robbers had an open invitation because the house was empty, and they knew that it would be vacant for some time before they returned. And so they were able to do all that they wanted to do. And so I want to end though with a note that social media is not bad. It's just the way we use it. So we can also talk about a lot of great stories about social media. We promote the university via social media. We sometimes look at charitable giving. There's a lot of stories about individuals who posted a video on YouTube, and it went viral, and they became very rich because if they're singing, the talent, they got a music contract, a deal. There's different things. You became YouTube sensations. They start a YouTube channel. And so there's a lot of things that can be positive as well. And the story that's really tugged at my heartstrings and stuck with me is a elderly lady who came in from a foreign country, did not speak English, and her person that was supposed to meet her at the airport got in an accident, unfortunately, and was unable to make it to her, and was in the hospital getting medical attention. So when she arrived, no English, could not communicate to the individuals. Somebody posted her online and said, do you know this lady? And within a couple hours, one of the family members saw it. It was shared, and they were able to get to her, so she wasn't sent back to the country she came from, and the story had a very positive ending. And so those are the things that we should do with social media. Feel good things, somebody said that allows us to interact with one another and not bring down anybody. I'm not saying you can't be critical online, you can't share a difference of opinions, but we should do it in a respectful way so that we don't go ahead and make anyone feel bad. Because when you behind a computer, what you type, it just words on a screen sometimes, but we don't realize that when you send it, it is going to someone else, and that person is human. You're not just talking to a screen, you're talking to someone else. And so it's something for us to keep in mind when we're online, what we post, what we look at, what we consume. Because if we stop consuming the negative, people will stop posting it, I believe, or at least it will be reduced. But if we keep sharing it, if we keep getting, I would say, somewhat excited by it, because it seems like negative things kind of circulate faster than positive things. And so to keep positive, I think the best thing to do is remain positive. That's what I had in terms of my brief presentation on the PowerPoint. I would take any questions or comments if you have any.
I think that your presentation was absolutely on point. It was really, it was very, very enlightening. Your last points about not posting emotional, that creates a lot of stress, because a lot of times I know people that may have had a hard day at work or hard day at church or whatever, and they have posted and somebody say, well, you talking about me? The next thing you know, they got an online argument, in front of everybody. Everybody's seeing your business, what's going on right there. That's very important. I think now in the day and the time that we're living in, we may spend more time online now because we're doing more shopping online and looking for things online. We're spending time in church. I know you won't catch me in nobody's church right now. I don't care what's going on. I can serve the Lord online real good. So, we're spending more time online and having church and and going to the mosque or whatever we're doing. Praise the Lord, saints. But so a lot of us are being smart. We don't want people spitting on us at church. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. So thank you. This is a great presentation. Let me shut up. Great presentation.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I definitely think that we, as a community and a society, if we could just remain positive, even when you have your emotions, like you said, and like I said, I've done it, and I have somewhat regretted some of the things, and so you learn and you grow, and you don't do it anymore. I always tell people, learn and grow, don't do it anymore. And so that's one of the things that is a learning experience that I'm hoping some don't have to experience it to learn it, but they learn from others who have told them, hey, don't do that. Because again, we say things when we're emotional that we would not say if we are calm. And when you're vexed, oh boy, what could come out your mouth when you're vexed. And when you put it, when you type it, some people say that was deliberate. Because when you come out your mouth, they say couldn't think about it. But even after you type it, sometimes you're so hot, you still ain't thinking right. But people don't excuse written text as much as they would verbal. They don't excuse it as much. And we could, I'm not bringing up anybody, but we could talk about our politicians and different people. I'm not going to go there, but there's a lot that has been written locally and nationally that we could say, wow, why did they put this on online, and why would they do something like that? Okay, so something we could all learn from. I thank you. I always respect people's time. It is 1 minute past the time, and so I will turn it back over to, I forgot who was the moderator.
It was me.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Clavier. I hope I'm saying your name correctly.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Right. Thank you so much, and I hope that everyone takes away everything that you shared with us today, because in today's world and today's society, we can get carried away with our emotions, and we can say things that upset other people, even though we don't mean to. It can happen. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining today.